Good morning, I'm WaywornWyrm, and welcome to my channel. And welcome back to the Monster Manual Backward. Today we're going to jump into Appendix A with miscellaneous creatures. And in this first episode we are going to tackle the ape, the baboon, and the giant ape. And just a note, that's going to apply to the entirety of Appendix A. The creatures herein have little to nothing to do with their real-life counterparts. And we're going to jump into a creature right away that this is very true for. These creatures are going to be the fantasy versions of them, pulp depictions. So, let's jump into the ape. The ape is a medium beast. It is unaligned. It has an armor class of 12, 19 hit points, 3d8 plus 6, has a speed of 30 feet and a climb speed of 30 feet, 16 strength, 14 dex, 14 con, 6 intelligent, which makes it a fairly intelligent creature. I mean, it's at the same intelligence as a dumb human. 12 wisdom and 6 charisma. Skilled in athletics and perception with a passive perception of 13. No language. Challenge rating 1/2. And it has 3 actions. The first one is a multi-attack, where it makes 2 fist attacks. And then there's its fist attack, which is this melee weapon attack. And keep in mind, that is a weapon attack, so that gets called out in several rules. Plus 5 to hit, reach of 5 feet, 1 target. A hit does 1d6 plus 3 bludgeoning. Then it also has a ranged weapon attack called the Rock. Plus 5 to hit, its range is 25 to 50 feet. 1 target. On a hit, it does 1d6 plus 3 bludgeoning. And how would I use an ape? Well, first off, by ape, they mean gorilla. And they mean the pulp version of a gorilla. Very, very much so. And so how I would tend to use this would be the same way I would use a ape in a very pulp setting. So we're going to have, like, jungle adventures. Apes are going to be on the random encounter charts, things like that. These shouldn't really, singly aren't really going to pose a big of a problem for even a low-level party. At challenge rating 1/2, that means 2 level 1 characters should find this fight kind of difficult. With its armor class, even your level 1 party that you should have a plus 5 to a plus 7 in your attack stat. So you're going to be rolling. You're going to be hitting about 65 to 75% of the time. And then with 19 hit points, I mean, a party of 4 level 1 characters can easily take out an ape in a single round. Without much difficulty. So you're probably going to want to, I would probably have an encounter of 1d6 or like 2d6 or something like that. Apes for an attack, and I mean, once your party is like level 3 to 5, they go from threats to nuisances. So yeah, like that's how I would use an ape. I would use it as flavor in a jungle type adventure. I wouldn't try and bring the realism of gorillas into this because the stat block isn't designed for that. And I mean, honestly, Dungeons and Dragons isn't really designed for that. It's in this game, there is like definitive good and definitive evil, definitive law and definitive chaos. Like those are known values. Good is not subjective. Good is like there is one true answer to what is good, or is X action a good action or an evil action. And I would lean into that with the ape. So let's move on really quick to the baboon. So the baboon is a small beast, unaligned, armor class 12, hit points 3, 1d6, speed of 30 feet, and a climb speed of 30 feet. It has 8 strength, 14 dex, 11 con, 4 intelligence, 12 wisdom, and 8 charisma. Passive perception of 11, no language, challenge rating 0. As pack tactics, the baboon has advantage on an attack roll against a creature if at least one of the baboon's allies is within 5 feet of the creature and the ally isn't incapacitated. And its action is bite. It's a melee weapon attack, +1 to hit, reach 5 feet, 1 target. It does 1d4 -1 piercing damage. So the role the baboon plays is the least version of the ape. Similar to how you have like goblins, hobgoblins, and bugbears. Not necessarily in that order. I think bugbears are supposed to be the middle challenge rating. But we'll get to that later. That's a far future episode of this series. So I'd argue that this stat block has the least to do with the creature that it bears the name of than any of the others. Baboons in this game are supposed to be a nuisance to any level party, and there's supposed to be a lot of them, and they're essentially mooks. One hit should kill them. In fact, I probably would roll it that way, with just, if you hit, you kill it. I would give it essentially 1 hit point. Just because 3 should be at least the minimum damage you're doing anyway, and it's hitting a baboon and doing 1 or 2 out of 3 points of damage just so it can maybe possibly hit you when it hits a quarter of the time or so, and does a stupidly small amount of damage. I mean, it can do 1, 2, or 3 points of damage, because you can't do 0. Even if it's 1d4 -1 and you roll a 1, you're still going to do 1 point of damage. The only interesting thing that it has is pack tactics. Pack tactics is one of my favorite abilities that monsters get, and it's something you have to remember to do if a creature has it. it doesn't even work like flanking, because it doesn't matter where the other one is. Just has to be within 5 feet of the creature being attacked. Doesn't even have to be attacking it. So get a couple of them together, and you're almost always going to have advantage. Which, when you have a +1 to hit, you're going to need advantage if you want your creature to hit. So with pack tactics and having that advantage, they're going to go from hitting maybe a quarter of the time to hitting about half the time. So this is going to be a really big advantage for them, to use the term. I would also use these in a jungle setting. Again, lean into the pulp aspects of, think like shitty movies. Think Congo, with those terrible CGI apes from the early to mid 90s. Ham it up like Anaconda or Piranha or something like that. Like, this is an encounter with a baboon, an ape, or a giant ape should feel like those movies, in my opinion. So, moving on, we are going to move on to the granddaddy of all of these, the big head honcho, the Giant Ape. And finally, we are on to the Giant Ape, which is a huge beast unaligned. Its armor class is still 12, but its hit points are up to 157. That'd be 15 d12 plus 60, 40 feet of speed, and 60 feet of climbing. We have 23 strength, 14 dex, 18 constitution, 7 intelligence, 12 wisdom, and 7 charisma. So its strength has gone way up, its constitution has gone up a bit, its intelligence has gone up a point, versus the just normal ape. It's skilled in athletics and perception. Both of those have pretty close to doubled. Perception has doubled, and athletics is almost doubled. It's a passive perception of 14, no language, and its challenge rating 7. And it, as well as the ape, it has 3 actions. It has a multi-attack, where it makes 2 fist attacks. It has its fist attack, which is, again, a melee weapon attack. +9 to hit, reach is 10 feet now, 1 target. On a hit, it does 3d10 plus 6 bludgeoning. And then the rock is a ranged weapon attack, +9 to hit. Its range is 50 to 100 feet, 1 target, and on a hit it does 7d6 plus 6 bludgeoning damage, which averages out several points higher than the fist. So this is a creature that's going to hit hard, with the averages being 22 for the fist and 30 for the rock. However, with its armor class still being 12, you're still going to be hitting it almost every turn. And by the time your characters get up to level 7, you should have... they should still only last you a round. Level 7 party can easily do 157 hit points of damage in a single round. It's not that hard. So basically, with this character, with this stat block, a giant ape, if you're gonna throw it at singly, I would say like a 5th or 6th level party. But if you do 7th, hopefully the ape either gets a surprise round or it rolls well on its initiative, because if it gets a turn, it's gonna mess some stuff up. If it goes last, I can easily see it not going. I can see it dead by the time the party gets through it. So I would probably either do this again as a small group, or have like one giant ape with several normal apes. Maybe have it like a leader type. Again, this is going to be a jungle encounter. Giant Ape is going to go on a random encounter table. This is just going to be, like the ape, it's going to be a thematic encounter, or it's going to be one encounter to drain just that many more resources before they finally get to wherever they're going. And that's about all I would use this for, because again, it's still a very pulp version of an ape. And again, when they say ape, they mean gorilla. And that in and of itself is problematic, but whatever. Thank you all very much for continuing to watch this series. And make sure you tune in. That was weird. Make sure you tune in tomorrow for... What will tomorrow be? Tune in tomorrow for the next episode of The Hoard of the Dragon Queen.